So thank you all for coming. We hope you are all healthy and safe. I'm Alexia Lumakis. My colleague Sue Ann Kim and I form the Call Elections Committee. We're coming to you from Toronto, and we'd like to acknowledge that for thousands of years, Toronto has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and most recently, the Mississaugas of the Credit River. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work and live on this land. While the technology used to make this session happen has existed for a while, we're sorry it took a pandemic for us to take advantage of it. As it's been a while since we've all been together, we're hoping that you'll be able to learn more about the candidates at today's event. We'll hear from each of them, and then we'll open the floor to your questions. Speaking of the candidates, we're thrilled that the nominations committee was able to put together such a strong list of candidates. The association is very lucky to have such enthusiastic and accomplished members, and we're thankful that the candidates have stepped up and agreed to let their names stand to serve on the board. We'd like to thank the nominations committee, which consisted of Anne-Marie Melvey, Agathe Pujold, and Cindy Murphy, for all of their hard work putting this together. Before we start, we'd like to remind you that voting begins next week and will last all of February. An email will be sent to you with your electronic ballot. We want to highlight that you can only vote once and that you'll have to vote in one sitting, as you can't access the ballot more than once. These details will be repeated in the email next week. I'd now like to ask current president of CALL, Shauna Moreau, to say a few words.
Hi, everyone. It's lovely to be with you today. I'm speaking to you from Treaty 6 territory, and I'd like to acknowledge the benefit that I have in sharing land with Indigenous people as well. I would also like to echo thanks to the nominations committee and to the elections committee for putting on this forum today. I think it's wonderful that we have so much enthusiasm of serving our CALL community amongst our membership. And I'm delighted to hear what the next executive board team looks like. Delighted to see any of the candidates find success, as I think we do have an amazing range of candidates for our next executive board. And of course, our current executive board still has a few months of work to do, and we're looking forward to engaging with CALL members throughout the next few months while we finish out our terms. I'm very lucky to be able to move on to past president and leave Vice President Kim Nair with the reins of CALL ACBD, and I'd like to invite her to speak next. Nice to see you all, and stay well.
Thank you so much, Shauna and Alexia. So I just want to also begin as a professor and librarian at Cornell Law School. I acknowledge that our university operates on the sovereign land of the Cayuga Nation, members of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. And I'm grateful for the ability to work and organize here, and I wish to express my respect to its people and elders. And I also would like to echo what Shauna has said about our fantastic elections committee who's put together this creative event and the hard work that they've done to get us here today. And I also wish to echo Alexia in thanking the nomination committee. You all did a fantastic job. You exercised some pretty excellent persuasion skills in and outreach and gathering such a fine group of candidates. And then, of course, I would also like to welcome all the candidates today and to thank you all for being willing to step forward and to serve your colleagues in CALL. You're an amazing group of people, and I really look forward to working with whoever of you get elected and also have the opportunity to serve in our first board under our newly constituted board structure. I think it'll be an interesting period of time.
Great, thank you, Kim and Shauna. So we'll move on now to the position of Vice President 1. Before we do that, I just wanted to acknowledge that we are going to record this session and send the link out later in the week. If you have any objections to that, please let us know after the session. So we move on to Vice President 1. Just recently, a candidate has withdrawn from the election, and as such, George Tsiakos has been acclaimed to the position of Vice President 1. Congratulations, George. Unfortunately, George couldn't be here today, but may try and pop in a bit later. So thank you, George, and looking forward to having you serve as Vice President 1. We now move to the position of Vice President 2, for which we have 3 candidates. The first candidate is Yemisi Dina.
Thank you, everybody. And thank you for the opportunity. And I also would like to acknowledge that I am on the land of the Indigenous peoples of Canada. And I acknowledge all what my other colleagues have said, because I'm working in York University and I'm on their network. But thank you very much for the opportunity to volunteer for this position of Vice President 2. And I have, as I have said in my candidate statement, I will like to move this profession or this association to the next level with my various skills. I have a passion for professional development, and so that is one of my strengths. And I have made a lot of contributions to this association, but I would like to, move on, move us to the global level. I have a lot of foreign comparative and international skills, which I would like to bring to this association, and also collaborate with other stakeholders in other jurisdictions and also in Canada as well. And also I said I would like to bring the diversity lens into this association. I think it's about time that we see that as a visible minority. And I think, in a multicultural society like Canada, I think this will be a very good opportunity to bring somebody like me to this position, to be, to be part of the board and to provide some leadership in this association. Of course, the diversity lens will be full of so much respect and integrity to not just people of my own orientation, but also, various diverse groups in Canada. And also, I will also resonate, or I will also be very inclusive and trail on the accomplishments of others who have led this association, because there's been so many trailblazers in this association as well in the past. So I think, people should consider those skills that I will bring to the leadership when voting. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Yemisi. Our next candidate for Vice President 2 is Alan Kilpatrick.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? All right, thank you. Yeah, good afternoon from Treaty 4 territory in Chile, Regina, Saskatchewan. I'm running for Vice President 2 of CAL. I'm very passionate about this association and its members. We're all innovators. Our competitive skill set and robust knowledge of legal information positions us to partner with the legal community and increase legal information access throughout Canada. As your next VP2, I'll broaden Call ACBD's reach and visibility to a wider group, thereby increasing the opportunities we have to connect with the broader legal and legal information communities. Better communicating our capabilities and skill sets to external stakeholders. Let's embrace change and reimagine what we can be. We have the knowledge and the skills to make a difference. My diverse experience building relationships, successful relationships with clients and stakeholders in law, academic, and government libraries makes me the ideal VP2 candidate to support you, to liaise with our partners, and to chart a successful future course for Call ACBD. As your association social media coordinator over the past 6 years, I've had the privilege of working closely with many of you, our committees, special interest groups, and conference planning groups. And that's allowed me to learn about the many vibrant activities of our association, the passion of our membership, and the value of this profession. I'm very grateful for the numerous opportunities I've had to serve this association, including as a member at large on the executive board for the past 2 years. I want to give back as VP2, and I want to continue the important work that I'm doing right now on the board. So this coming February, remember to vote Kilpatrick for VP2. You can learn more about my campaign at librarycanuck.com/election, and I would be delighted if you reached out to me via email, Twitter, or over the phone. I'd love to chat with you and to hear about your thoughts about Call ACBD. Thank you.
Thanks, Alan. Our next candidate for VP2 is Joan Ratea-Klang.
Bonjour, mes amis. We were asked to speak briefly to tell you why we are running. Part of my DNA is volunteerism, both personally and professionally. In my 30+ year career, I have participated where I thought I was needed. Early on, I became president of the Toronto Association of Law Libraries. Throughout my whole career, I've been involved with CALL, most recently with the Vendor Liaison Committee, first as chair and now as co-chair. Thank goodness for the co-chair. There's a lot of work for that committee. And also in the last 10 years, I have been the library director of the Courthouse Library in Toronto. So I've been involved with the Ontario Courthouse Library Association. Now, libraries have been my life, and I mean that literally. I became a page in a public library at the age of 14 and have spent my whole life working in libraries. The few times I've left, I've always come back. I guess I found my passion and had to stick with it. And I find that the two are now converging. In that career, I think I've developed a lot of skills and acquired experience that comes out in my leadership. I've been a librarian. I'm the executive director of Not-for-Profit Association. I am a certified association executive. All of these, I think, are valuable in working on the CALL board. As well, I highly value teamwork, lifelong learning, and have always been one to look to the future. And we know that the future is important. Call ACBD probably needs to do a little bit of reassessing, maybe some renewal, reinvigoration, and if need be, we can reinvent the association if we all work together. Good luck to all of the candidates. We have a wonderful slate, and no matter who wins, I know that CALL will do well the next couple of years. Thank you.
Great, thanks to the three of you. Next position is the position of secretary. We have two candidates, the first one being Martha Murphy. Oh, there you go, Martha.
I'm pleased to join you today, and I'm excited to stand for the position of secretary on the CALL executive. I also thank Jason for standing for the position. I first met Jason in Vancouver, and he was a terrific tour guide in the CALL conference and has been helpful over the years in answering my esoteric legal questions. For the past 10 years, I've been the library manager for a tribunal government agency in Ontario. In this position, I lead our information services team for our organization, including library, records management, French translation, and web content. It's a fun job, and I enjoy being an information professional. Like many of you, I've been working from home since March 2020. Our entire office, except our mailroom, has been working remotely. My library is a mess with unopened boxes and piles of journals and loose leaves. A colleague sent me a picture. I could only laugh and say, this too shall pass and it will get organized somehow, some way. Always look at the bright side, right? This experience working 100% remote for the past 10 months has taught me resiliency, and it's also taught me opportunity. I've never been prouder of our association and how we support one another. When I connect with call members, the world feels normal again. The first thing I ask when connecting, how are you? Are you safe and healthy? Then on to business. I've personally felt very supported during this time, and I thank Call for instilling a culture of collegiality and valuing one another's skill set to share and to assist where we're able. I strongly believe we can't grow in our careers without the support and involvement of our professional association. I'm passionate about volunteering and view it as a responsibility for being a productive professional, which means I am passionate about Call. I've co-chaired the Member Development Committee and the Government SIG, participated on the planning committee of 2 conferences, and I've presented at conferences, coordinated submissions for Vancouver, Halifax, and our upcoming virtual conference. And I've been an information share and have written several legal blogs. The secretary position is one I would like to throw my energies into. I'm a documenter at heart, and I see the secretary position as one who is not only the minute taker of executive meetings, but capturing the institutional activities of the association and being an active participant in the planning and the execution of our goals and objectives. I would enjoy being the liaison to all the SIGs as their executive representative. I have previous experience with being a secretary and running elections. In the secretary position, I know that I am a good listener. I'm a good, sorry, lost my spot. I'm a good listener and an active participant, consensus generator, and actually enjoy preparing those documents that serve as our official record for the organization. I've served on my local library board, and I'm familiar with the rules of running an official organizational meeting. I really thank you for the opportunity to speak today, and I know you have a tough choice in choosing a secretary for your executive, but do know I really, really, really want to represent you, and I'll work hard for our association and our mandate, and I thank you for your time today.
Great, thank you, Martha. Our next candidate is Jason Wong.
Hi, everyone. Bonjour. I'm delighted to be speaking to you all today from north of Vancouver on the traditional territories of the Coast Salish peoples, including the Musqueam, Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh Nations. And I thank Martha for also standing for election for secretary as well. And her long-standing experience has been something I've been the benefactor of as well, as a relatively new professional and junior to the call. On my end, my experience when it comes to being a secretary stems from being a governance expert. And I delight in the minutiae of parliamentary procedure and meeting minutes, not as matters of stifling debate, but as a way to have a level playing field so that all members and all voices have a common ground of engagement. To be very frank, I may be a bit of an outsider to call ACBD, but it's a role that I've always played in many of my positions, coming in from the outside and changing things, looking at it from a fresh perspective, and ensuring that the structures that are in place to demonstrate accountability to our members and to allow for consensus building and common engagement is something that I've always been very passionate about and I've been able to do. I hail from the prairies, and my experience is very much a Western, it's very much an outside Toronto Western Canadian voice. As a national association that's looking to grow and to incorporate more voices, I believe there's something to be said about geographic representation of call ACBD. I don't have all the answers, admittedly, but one thing I do have is the capacity and the ability to help forge a common understanding and see where our organization will take us in 2021 and beyond. I will say, though, that as a demonstration of how much I do like the governance aspect of things, I've read through the call ACBD bylaws twice, have it in front of me on my screen right now. And in addition, I like to present exhibits because I'm just like that. One of my personal texts I was referred to would be Keith Seals, the manager of non-for-profit and charitable organizations in Canada. And I also have an abridged version of the Robert's Rules of Order in case we ever need it. Again, it's not to stifle debate or to, it's not meant to stifle debates or to bury things in procedure, but it's meant to help move things along. Because we have some big questions that are in front of us. And I hope that with my fresh perspective and with my experience, I can help contribute to the future of our organization.
Great, thank you, Jason. So the next position that you'll be voting for will be treasurer, for which we have two candidates. The first being Dale Berry.
Hello, everyone. So yeah, like everyone's mentioned, we were asked to give a brief introduction of who we are and why we're running. And so again, I'm Dale Berry. I'm the director here at Alberta Law Libraries. I'm based in Calgary, but we are indeed a provincial organization. And so why run for call executive? Originally, my answer was going to be that it was through the sort of vigorous nudging and encouragement of some of my colleagues on this call with their microphones muted, some of them with their cameras off. But you know, that I say jokingly, but at the same time, you know, the truth is in that fact, and that this group is a group of people who have brought encouragement, brought perspective, brought understanding, brought knowledge to me through my trajectory to date in the world of law librarianship. So it's actually through their good work and their goodwill that I am encouraged to throw my hat in the proverbial ring. So I do see being a part of the call executive as an opportunity to give back to those people and to this group that have indeed made a difference. And this does offer, of course, a chance. Let's be selfish. It offers a chance for me to gain some new experience too, and develop that knowledge. So, you know, what would I bring to the position? Well, in my capacity as the director at Alberta Law Libraries, I do deal with various stakeholders, you know, executive members, board members, and I know that those interactions and experiences again are quite varied, and then I can bring perspective and understanding to this setting as well, and I think that'll help to inform my work with the board. As others have said too, I mean, we must acknowledge that our profession is one of the comments I always say, or phrases I always say, is that we have an organic profession. It's always changing. So, you know, COVID-19 is just the latest impact and change that we've been forced to face and deal with, and that's one of the things that I find most appealing about our profession. But indeed, we're in a state of constant change, and some of that requires critical reflection, and I enjoy that critical reflection, and I would be able to bring that to this group, to that table with the executive, and I think that really my experience and engagement would be with commitment to the executive and to our membership, to the organization, and I like the having the opportunity to again be a part of that. So, thank you.
Great, thanks, Dale. And next up is Jennifer McNenly.
Hi there. I think that the reason that I ran was because I have been involved with a lot of different associations over my career. The last several years been involved with TAL on the Publishers Liaison Committee, and I'm helping them with their tech committee this year on revamping and rethinking the website. A lot of my career has been a mix of traditional librarianship, but also I'm very technical. So people who know me that I'll do everything from web design to search engines to in my new role, increasingly data analysis. So right now I'm taking a certificate at Ryerson for data analytics and following that up with a machine learning course. And this is to say that, a lot of what we have right now is about data, unfortunately. It just multiplies and multiplies. So when I think about the role of treasurer, it seems like a good fit for me because it's really about keeping track of the financial health of an organization and making your board aware of the trends and opportunities that they have, or the possible risks that might be involved if the budget is falling off the tracks. In my current role, I've been managing a very large budget at a law firm for a number of years and work with colleagues to make sure that we spend our meager resources correctly. And, a lot of you might not think that, treasurer, treasury is really a sexy thing or a sexy topic, but I would like to bring sexy back, or maybe for the first time, to anything we talk about in terms of numbers. So, if you vote for me, I think that I would probably bring something new to the association in terms of being able to present the numbers in a fun way and engage people to think a little bit more about how we can make our money go further. So that's all I have to say. I didn't really prepare anything in advance. This is kind of all off the cuff. So welcome your feedback, and you can contact me via LinkedIn and reach out to me by email. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Jennifer. So the final position you'll be voting for is member at large. There are 6 candidates for 2 positions, and we'll start first with Kim Clark.
Hello, I'm Kim Clark. I'm the director of the Bennett Jones Law Library at the University of Calgary. I have been a member of CAL since 1996 when I was a library school student, but I've been an active member only since 2008 after I moved back to Canada from the States, where I'd lived for 11 years. And I became active within a few months of moving back. And that's because Judy Harvey called me up and asked me to join her on the Eunice Beeson Memorial Travel Fund and to give some money. So that was my first experience, but I have been extremely active ever since. I've served on committees and on special interest groups. I was the chair of the Calgary 2011 program committee. I have presented at conferences multiple times. I've been an editor for CLLR, and I even hosted the New Law Librarians Institute in 2018. The one thing, or a couple of things that were consistent in all of my activities was enjoying working with my colleagues in the sense of camaraderie and collegialism that you encountered in all of these activities, as well as the focus on the educational aspect, on the learning, on bringing the practical aspect into what we're teaching, into what we're learning. I would like, so all of my experiences have been quite discrete on working on various committees or in various aspects. So being able to work on the board would give me the bigger perspective of where the board is going, where our association is going, where our members feel our profession should be going. What I bring to this, or what I would bring to this position is, number one, I think one of my best strengths is seeing the big picture and understanding how the various parts fit together. And I think having played all the roles I did, I do have a lot of that interest and experience. I also am very good at both planning and following through. So I'm not just a talker, I'm actually a doer. And I am an excellent communicator. And so I think all of those would be very helpful in terms of the changes that we are facing right now. But having said that, quite truthfully, you can't make a bad choice with this slate that's been put together for the member at large. They're all fantastic people. And so no matter who you choose, I know that we're going to have an excellent executive for the next couple of years. So thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Tanya Davis.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tanya Davis, Provincial Law Librarian of the Law Society of New Brunswick Libraries. I've been a call member since 2003, and I attended my first call conference in 2007 in Ottawa. I remember being excited and nervous and empowered by the people and the knowledge around me. I still feel that way. At that call conference, the keynote speaker spoke about human skills, communication, interaction between people, and the ability required to bring people and ideas together in any organization. The keynote asked each of us attending the session to stand up and turn to the person on our right and gently push the person on the shoulder. Human instinct is to resist the push because we don't want to feel uncertain in times of change. This resonates with me to this very day. The landscape of librarianship and information professionals is changing, and change is good, even chaotic change, because it means current issues are being examined and solutions are being considered. Every call conference since 2007 has allowed me to grow my network with amazing colleagues, develop professional abilities and my knowledge base. I'm confident as a member at large, I have the skills and the work experience and the committee experience through call required to be an effective liaison, to support, to guide, and to competently communicate between the committees and the call ACBD executive. As a member at large, I will strive to ensure the mandates, ideas, and strategic plans of the committees are made available for consideration at every level. And together as a team, Call ACBD can move forward to embrace change and navigate towards the future. We are so fortunate today to have such a great slate of candidates. I would love to serve the association as a member at large, and I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Tanya. Julie Levine.
Great, thank you very much. So yeah, my name is Julie Levine. I'm the Legal Studies Librarian at Carleton University. And I'm joining you today, well, I've given it away a bit, from Ottawa, which is the traditional and unceded territory of the Algonquin peoples. I've been a member of CALL since 2001 when I was still a student. And I've been, let's say, a more active member for probably at least the last 10 years or so, just as I got a little bit more settled in my career and had a little bit more time to start getting involved in some of those sorts of things. So one of the important things for CALL for me is that I've spent a chunk of my career as a legal specialist who's actually the only legal specialist working in a large academic library. So while I consider myself an academic law librarian, I'm actually the only one in Carleton. It's not a law school, it's just one general academic library, but our law and legal studies program is actually quite large. But I'm the only one who's got the specific legal skills. So being the only person, even though I'm in a much larger organization, it's actually made me a lot more aware of how important the support and network that you can get from Call ACBD can be. Prior to that, prior to being at Carleton, I've been at Carleton since 2012. Before that, I was at the University of Ottawa for about 4 or 5 years in the law library there. And like, you really do notice the difference. So even though I would never call myself a sole librarian, obviously I work in a big group, there's like 30 of us. In some ways, I do feel solo sometimes because I don't have that built-in network of the person right down the hallway. I've got people like Call. And the other thing that's good about being in Ottawa is we actually have our regional association, and Call is actually quite active too, especially in the last few years, and that's been really invaluable. So it's just shown me, or reinforced for me, the importance of having those networks. that would be one of the most important things for me. And so that was one of the reasons why when Anne-Marie called me and said, hey, are you interested? I said, well, I think first I said, let me think about it. Panicked for about 2 days and I went, sure, of course I'm interested. It's the kind of thing I've done, or I've had the chance to do in the past in similar types of roles where I've been working with committees or whatever. We're looking at, I've done a couple of reorganizations in our library, for example. Other similar things that I've worked on would be, I've been quite involved with Faculty Association, both at Carleton and at University of Ottawa before there. And what I've really always seen my role in when I've been doing those positions is a liaison. And so for me, that would be the most important thing for the member at large, is kind of being that key, one of those key people who provide that link between the executive and the membership to really get a feel for what people are talking about and thinking about when they're not necessarily the ones making the decisions at the end of the day. I was really interested in the town hall that we had. I'm trying to remember when it was now. Everything feels like it was 10 months ago, but I think it was in November. So I don't even remember now. But that was a really great discussion that we had, particularly the parts about membership and what were we going to do? How are we going to chart our future? What does call need to be? What is the value of call? What do people get out of it? Those are the kinds of questions that I find really interesting. And I would be very excited to be part of the executive over the next couple of years as we continue looking at those questions. Other than that, I look, everybody else has said already, there's a really great slate of candidates. You're not going to make a bad choice. Yeah, so I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Julie. And next we have David Michaels.
Hello, folks. David Michaels. Yes, my photograph had a beard, but I would like to know from Alan, how is he managing the beard and the mask wearing? That's my question. Anyway, so David Michaels, I'm the Public Services Librarian at the Sir James Dunn Law Library at Shiller School of Law in Nova Scotia, Mi'kma'ki. So I'm on the other coast. Yes, I am honored, humbled to be with such a great candidate list here. It's both an easy and hard challenge for those voting. Hard because you got to make some choices. And there's so many people I know and respect and colleagues and friends here. Easy in the sense that you probably can't mess up whoever you vote for. When I was approached, I didn't put my name forward. I was approached. And I did have to, as Julie said, think about it for a couple of days. This is not the season for volunteering for things. But I have benefited a lot from our association, from the colleagues here. We've all discovered over the past year that a lot of things we would have said are never possible are now possible. It is going to push us to rethink about a lot of things, about what we do and how we do them. And I am an information scientist. When not being the librarian, I am fascinated with people and information and leadership and change. And so I'm very interested in us as an association turning that analytical eye to the new world we live in and thinking about where we're going from here. I want to encourage our association to be engaged with that and taking the lead on where that change is going to take us. And supporting all our committees and SIGs as they wrestle with their particular slice of the world. I'm also a instructor here at the law school and assistant professor in the information school. So I spend a lot of time training the next generation of lawyers and law librarians. And I'm very keen that we have a good, strong association for them, for the next generation. There's some wonderful young colleagues coming up. And I think from that perspective, from the people perspective, we have a bright future. But I do want to have a strong association that we can, give to them. I'm sounding old. I'm not meaning to sound old, but anyway, I'm at that point in my career. I start thinking about the future. Anyway, thank you. I would be pleased to serve and offer my gifts in this role or other roles in the future.
Great, thank you, David. Next up is Matthew Renaud.
Hi, everyone. Hoping you can hear me okay. I'm coming to you from frosty Winnipeg, where it's currently -32 with the wind chills. So just thankful I'm working indoors today and not outside. I also wanted to get a haircut for this very important presentation, but our salons have been closed since November and just reopened this Monday. So that was kind of out of the question as well. For those that don't know me, I am the liaison librarian at the E.K. Williams Law Library at the University of Manitoba. So like David, I am an academic librarian with some experience in teaching, instruction, and research support. And since becoming a member of CAL ACBD in 2016, I have had the opportunity to participate in several professional development opportunities that I really want to emphasize they have very positively influenced my role as a law librarian. And this includes, but is not limited to, attendance, of course, at the annual conference, and membership in a variety of special interest and committee groups. And now after nearly 5 years as a CAL member, I feel that it is really an appropriate time to give back to the organization and its members. This is an organization that has afforded me so many professional opportunities. So I truly feel it's an appropriate time to give back. And this is really why I have chosen to stand for election as member at large. Although looking at the giants in the profession that are running against me, it's a bit of an uphill battle, but we'll see how it goes. As your member at large, I will certainly do everything in my power to serve our diverse range of members, really to the fullest extent of my abilities. And if elected, I will certainly bring with me an enthusiasm for law librarianship, especially as it relates to access to justice, which is an issue of importance to me personally, as well as collaboration with non-library representatives from the legal profession, be it lawyers, academics, students, and other legal researchers. That certainly that collaboration is something that I have a lot of experience with, and I feel I can certainly bring that with me as your member at large. So with that, I hope you will consider me when you do cast your vote. Again, for member at large, that's Matthew Renaud. Thanks for your time today. I hope everyone is doing well and is safe. And best of luck to everyone running this year. It's a wonderful slate of candidates. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Matthew. And our final candidate for member at large, we've got Doris Wagner. I didn't check to see if Doris was here. Is Doris here? She doesn't appear to be on the list of people.
Yeah, I've double checked Alexa, and she's not on the list. So maybe
Okay.
move on unless she comes back before the end.
Great, thank you. And I should note that in the ballot, you'll be able to read more about each candidate and see videos as well. Okay, we would now like to open the floor to your questions. So you can raise your hand. Can you do that in this? Or put it in the chat or unmute yourselves, and we'd be happy to take questions.
Hi there, it's Suin Kim, the current secretary of the executive board. I have a general question. So one of the key factors to a successful association is an engaged, strong, and diverse membership. And I was just wondering if any of the candidates have any ideas or some sort of a vision on how to build our membership, not just in terms of numbers, but also in terms of diversity and how to keep them engaged, especially during this time when most other associations are facing decline in numbers.
Joan Rataic-Lang, if I could say a little bit. You're right, Suin. There seems to be a trend in all associations, and not just because of COVID, but it seems to be a trend recently for people not to join associations. But I think that we really need to, and I think we've all touched on this, is evaluate and assess and find out what our members and need. And our members are not just the traditional law librarians that we have been for such a long time. One of the things that came out of that town hall was the fact that there are a lot of people who do work that's very close to what we do, or should be part of us. They should be part of our group, and we need to figure out how to reach those people and bring them in, and really do an assessment of what people are looking for. So if our members, if we can figure out what the MVP is, the member value proposition, what they need, and make sure that we're giving them that, that is how we're going to engage our members. A bunch of people sitting around a table saying, we think this is what our members need, is not going to do it. We need to actively reach out through focus groups and forums, surveys. You know, any one tool isn't going to do the job, but multiple tools to find out what we need to do to ensure our future.
Alan Kilpatrick, could I respond to that question as well, please?
Yep.
Well, one of the wonderful things I've discovered since COVID-19 occurred is that we've had many more opportunities to connect virtually. In prior years, our main opportunity to connect seemed to be largely restricted to our annual conference. I really appreciated all of the opportunities to connect virtually. I went to a wonderful new professionals SIG chat last week. I'd like to see more virtual get-togethers like that continue to occur even after COVID-19 ends and after we reinstitute our annual in-person conference. Let's take advantage of all of these opportunities to connect more frequently.
Great, thanks, Alan and Joan. Would anyone else like to speak to that question?
Alexia, Martha has her hand up.
Oh, okay, thank you. Hi, Martha.
Hi. I just want to say a few words too, and I guess this is coming at it from the Membership Development Committee lens, and that maybe, you know, the time is coming where we could be looking at bringing in some of the regional library associations from the other provinces and setting up perhaps smaller chapters. And, you know, to Alan's point with Zoom and video conferencing, we're connecting more tighter together. And I look at some of the smaller associations and they are struggling. I look at our own TAL in Toronto and they weren't able to get a slate of candidates. And fortunately, the executive agreed to stand for another term, which was very generous on their side. But perhaps that's, time to be reaching out to some of those smaller centers and seeing if we can grow call in that way and be providing those individual regional sessions that would benefit their area. I'm even thinking in the Calgary area with the Foothills Association and Vancouver and Halifax and Toronto. And we're a small network and we're very niche in our legal information professionals. So that's just one way I'm thinking that we could be looking at growing our membership. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Martha. Jason, you've got your hand up.
Yes, my perspective on the question comes more from a diversity and inclusion angle, and it's to make room for spaces for people of various professionals and colleagues of various backgrounds that traditionally have not been, who may have felt excluded, whether for whatever reason. And I think what I'm particularly interested in is seeing if there's a way to bolster the efforts of our current diversity, inclusion, and decolonization committee, and whether we do need to take some drastic measures that we see in other fields. So, for example, do we need to have a mandatory disclosure to our members every year about our diversity, inclusion, and decolonization efforts? Do we need to go the step of having a francophone member or someone who is fluently bilingual? Do we need to have someone? There are a number of ways that we can approach this. I think the angle that I would take that question would be more on the diversity inclusion perspective. And this is also stemming from my work right now at the firm, where I am a member of a few of the pillars of our firm's Inclusion Now committee. And the pillars are pride, gender equality, and also the race one. Is that the formal name for it? I've forgotten the title. But my take on the question is more from the diversity inclusion angle. I'd very much like to be a part of ensuring that call grows and still incorporates those voices as we change.
Great, thank you, Jason. Any other candidates like to speak on that?
Yes, David. I may?
Yep, thanks, David.
I didn't log in before, so I didn't have a hand to put up. Yeah, it's one of the things I find that's been beneficial for me in the association is knowing so many people who have so diverse gifts and skills and knowledge and abilities. And I kind of, I wish we knew more about what of those special skills and abilities each other has, because there's times and stuff when I'm teaching and I'm bringing in a guest speaker or I'm working on a project and I'm thinking, who knows about that? And I think doing things like that kind of, I guess, advertising, and people always talk about, librarians being very bad at self-promoting, although Alan should be on that committee. He's really good at that. I think we need to be good at kind of sharing some of those different skills and backgrounds. Our commonality is that we're all law librarians, but we're broader than that. And if I had a better sense of who those people in my association are and what those skills and gifts and knowledge that they bring, I think it would help us strengthen our connections and build all our work up.
Great, thank you, David. We've still got a couple minutes left before the top of the hour.
Sorry, Alexia.
Yep.
Can I just add? So it's Julie here. Sorry.
Sure, of course.
Something to David just got me thinking, which is always dangerous. It just made me think of at the town hall, we were talking about this a little bit about membership and, the fact that, well, we're all law librarians. And I sometimes wonder that, maybe in some ways that's almost, I don't want to say part of the problem because it's not a problem. I love being a law librarian. But what I do find sometimes, and again, this is probably coming from myself being, you know, an academic law librarian in a non-law library, sometimes I'll be telling one of my colleagues about some great webinar or something, you know, and they should consider, and they're like, oh, but that's law. And so I wonder if there's a way that for like the webinar offerings or our conference offerings, like just starting something like that, where if we're able to promote ourselves as being more than just law, because there's a lot of policy areas, a lot of international relation areas that can be very, very interesting, very relevant, that we might be able to start reaching out to people who are working in those kinds of areas as well. And that might be one way to expand our membership without kind of losing what it is we do that makes us unique as opposed to a different association. Like I know I've started looking at joining a couple of associations that are broader than just the Law Librarians Association. So, and I know there's a number of other colleagues here on this call probably who are, you know, things like, sorry, I'm trying to think of the name of it. There's a Public PIPERS, PPIRS or something like that out of AALL, I think it is, and groups like that. So that might be another option where if we're just kind of broadening a little bit what it is we talk about, we may be able to get people in who are scared off by law, but who think, well, policy is really cool. So.
Great, thanks, Julie. So we have 1 minute left. If anyone wants to add anything else or respond to that question.
Alan Kilpatrick, can I speak again briefly?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. To build off what we've been talking about, we all do work in law libraries, but what we do is quite diverse. We work in firm libraries or academic libraries or in non-traditional settings. So our day-to-day experiences probably look quite different. What is it that connects us together and draws us together? It's well, I think a big part of it is probably legal information. We use legal information, or we teach legal information. Perhaps that could be extended to government information or something like that, as Julie suggested. We build legal information. We do cool things with legal information. And yeah, let's share our story. As David was saying, let's tell people about all of the cool and interesting things that we're doing. Let's not be shy.
Great, thanks, Alan. So that brings us to the top of the hour. We would really like to thank the candidates for coming and all the participants for attending. And also, again, thank the candidates for standing for election. That was, it's really brave of you to put yourselves out there. And good luck to everyone. Don't forget to vote. Your ballots will be coming next week. And again, thank you for attending. This was really a great way to get to know everybody a bit better. So have a wonderful day. Stay warm and safe.
Well done.